Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome again. My name is John Koh, the Regional Director for One Global Property Services. Thank you for spending the next 1 hour with us. So today, I'm not alone. As you can see, I'm here with the whole One Global Singapore team. So question to all of you out there. What is the next 1 hour? What are we going to touch on today? Yes, as you can see on the screen, right? We're going to have the next 1 hour about asking us any questions that you might have with regards to UK property. And the reason why we decided to do this webinar today for the next 1 hour is because over the last few weeks, we realized that we have so many clients coming back to us to inquire more about UK property. But of course, before we go into the question and to answer any questions that you might have, why don't we get the team to introduce themselves?
Hi, I'm Adrian Lim. I've been in this line for 16, 17 years now. Some of you may know me. Those who are experienced UK property buyer, you will definitely know me. I really hope to be of service to you again soon, because it is really a good time to buy something now. We will explain more later when we do the Q&A. Yeah, and our team specializes in providing bespoke service and one-stop shop to all the buyers. We'll explain more as we go along. Let me introduce the colleague.
Hi everyone, I'm Victor. I've been with OGPS for about 8-9 years. At the same time, I've been in the industry for about 10 years. Before that, I was with CBRE, doing only international property sales. So that is my strength in OGPS.
Hi everyone, my name is Marcus Hua. As you all know, OGPS is a bit different from the other agencies that usually sit in Singapore. We actually got also a lot of international office in Hong Kong, Malaysia. I in particular are tasked with the growth of the Malaysian market, of OGPS Malaysian market in KL. And I've been spearheading the growth of the market in KL in the last 2 years. So looking forward to hearing all the questions that you all have, and we'll try to address them as best as we can.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. Firstly, thank you to everyone for making the time. I understand that all of you are very busy people and you guys have made the time to join us today for the next 1 hour. So thank you very much on behalf of all our audience over there. I think the first questions that to start off, because I have a list of questions that have come in the day before from our audience here. I have it over here, so the flow is that I will go through the questions and feel free to answer any of the questions that you think is that you feel strongly for. I think the first question that most of our audience are asking today is, Adrian, Victor, Marcus, Wenxiong, why should we look at UK property? Whether is it as a Singaporean, as a Malaysian, as someone in Hong Kong, why UK property has always been the top destination for global investors?
Well, UK property market has always been very strong and steady.
Okay.
Even honestly, even during the last crisis, which is the SARS, or even global financial crisis, the UK property prices didn't drop a lot. You give it maybe 10-15%, and right after that, it really shot up quickly. And rental market has always been strong. In fact, it's better than Singapore in terms of rental. So whenever there's a vacant apartment, it's always taken up very quickly in London or in the whole of UK, not just London.
Victor, what do you think?
Yeah, and ever since I joined CBRE, before I joined OGPS, a bit of the past experience that I had with my clients before is that a lot of them see London as one of the having a stable government, stable policy, stable growth. It's like a blue chip among the real estate in the world. So you can name all the financial centers in the world, and London would definitely be one of them. Yeah. And that has always been the factor that I get to hear from the buyers that I served before.
I think maybe on my part, just to share with everybody, I think because a lot of my clients are Singaporeans, so as a typical Singaporean like myself, my first question is, as a Singaporean, naturally I will look at Singapore property as an investment, as a first destination, isn't it? I'm quite sure many of you out there, especially if you're Singaporean, you will naturally look at Singapore as a first property destination. But today, what are the rules and regulations in the moment? Is that right now, if I currently have a Singapore property and I have a loan on it, if I'm going to buy a second Singapore property, there's this what we call the ABSD, Additional Buyer Stamp Duty. And how much is the stamp duty, guys? The stamp duty is 16%. So that means that for a 1 million Singapore dollar stamp property, I need to set aside 160,000 stamp just to pay for the stamp duty. I don't know about you, but I just feel many of us might struggle with the fact that these stamp duties are a little bit high to consider for second property investment. So which is why many of my clients, especially Singaporean, they are quite surprised when I told them that, hey, do you know when you're investing into a UK property, you don't pay your stamp duty upfront. Your stamp duty is a lot lower. Unlike you buy a Singapore property, your stamp duty is payable in the next 2 to 3 months after you purchase the unit. Whereby in UK, your stamp duty is only payable upon completion. And that is one major thing. And of course, the other thing is the mortgage loan. In Singapore, as a Singaporean, when I buy a Singapore property, I can get access to Singapore banks for the loan, which will be subjected to TDSR and things like that. But buying a UK property as a Singaporean, I first have the access to not just the Singapore bank, I also have access to UK banks. And in UK banks, not just the usual whereby my monthly mortgage is about principal plus interest. UK banks, do you know UK banks actually offer us interest-only loan? So what does that mean to us if it's an interest-only loan? That means that, let's say example, every month if I'm collecting this amount of rental, and I'm just servicing my interest, what does that mean? That means that my principal is not payable, I'm just servicing the interest. That gives me a much more positive cash flow when I'm keeping my UK property. And this is something what a lot of people like about UK property. Because
since you are making a comparison with Singapore,
Yep.
so if you compare the city of London, for me in particular, when I sell my product to Malaysia and even to Thailand,
Yep.
we will do a comparison on a macro level between Singapore and London, for example. London is still very much a global city where you have players from Eastern Europeans, Africa, you have money from Middle East, that are even South America, that are flowing and investing into a market in London, the property market in London.
Especially the Chinese now.
Yes, yeah. Whereas in Singapore, you see the traditional Chinese money, and the regional innovation high. But in UK, in London in particular, you not only see the Chinese and the usual candidates that you see here in Singapore, you have the other markets and the capital that's flowing into UK. And why is that so? Because actually London is a very international and very globalized city. Look at the universities, right? The universities there all churn out extremely well-known, renowned people, leaders of the world. And the whole world are sending their children to educations in London. So that drive, and a certain drive the property market in London. And on a long-term perspective, the growth potential of the city retains. See, if you compare against Singapore, in prices-wise, actually there are not much difference between the prices in London and Singapore. But yet, London is such a global city. The opportunity there, as far as my clients are concerned, usually, if they are doing a legacy buy for their many generations down the line, they will definitely look at London very closely as one of the top priorities.
Right. So I guess
If I may add up a bit to the stamp duty, that's a bonus. If you happen to sell the property before completion, then you don't have to pay stamp duty at all. The person who buys over from you pays the stamp duty.
Right.
So I think it's a big bonus if you can assign it before completion.
Right. I think that's a good point that Adrian has pointed out. So what Adrian is trying to say is that unlike today, scenario A, if I decide to buy a Singapore property, I need to make sure I have to keep it for 3 years. I mean, of course, I can sell within that first 3 years upon purchase, but in Singapore, we have what we call the seller stamp duty. What is a seller stamp duty? Seller stamp duty stipulate that if you sell your property within the first 3 years of purchase, you have to pay an additional seller stamp duty. And how much is that? On the first year, if you sell your property, you have to pay a 12% on top of your sales price. Second year, you pay 8%, and the last year, on the third year, you pay a 4%. Whereby for UK property, you can buy it today. And let's say 6 months down the road upon purchase, there's some buyers in the market, whether is it from Hong Kong, from China, or from locally back in UK, wanting to buy that property from you, you are able to sell that property to them with the profit, and yet you haven't paid that stamp duty. I think that is the beautiful thing about UK property, isn't it?
Yes, and especially now the finance minister of UK, they just introduced a very interesting, or in fact, it's a very good
Savings.
incentive for
Stamp duty
everybody
holiday.
in
For all
the UK
investors.
or even foreign investors. And what it is, it's called the stamp duty holiday. Yeah. So meaning that if you were to buy something and complete before 31st March 2021, the first timer don't have to pay stamp duty at all. Yeah. Because if you buy a second property, you probably have to pay just 3%. This is so much lower than Singapore.
Yeah.
And why does the finance minister introduce this? It is to help everyone in the industry, and that includes the developer to move some units. That is to also help the existing owners move the units as well. Yeah. Otherwise, during COVID lockdown, nothing happened. Agents can't do anything. So, but with this introduction of the incentive, a lot of agents have a lot of work now. We get a lot of calls, we get a lot of inquiries about properties. So, reason being, they want to save on that 3% stamp duty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess to sum it all up about why UK, coming back to the first question, why global investors are in love with buying into UK property for the last many years is because I think first thing, it's a global city, it's a blue chip investment destination. Second, it has a very diverse profile of buyers, whether like what Marcus have shared earlier on, you have the Russian, the Middle Easterns, the Asian buyers, Hong Kong, Singaporeans, Malaysians, all are buying into UK property over the last many years. So it's a very diverse buyers profile in the market. The second thing is, of course, like I always tell my clients, buying property is about demand versus supply. Would you want to buy some in a place whereby you know there's very high demand, very limited supply, or would you rather buy something there's no demand and you have a huge supply? I guess we all want to invest into some place where we know that when we buy today, there's a very high demand for our property, right? So that is UK. It has very high demand, but has a very huge housing under supply even for the last 10 years as we speak. The sterling pounds is at an all-time low right now. And of course, the Bank of England, because of what happened in the first half of this year, we know that the Bank of England has announced the interest rate has been now shifted down to 0.1%. And what does that mean to us as an investor? That means our lending from the bank becomes so much lower. I think these are the reasons why global investors are in love with UK property, and even more so at this current moment. I think the next question is...
And probably just to add on to what John has said, the other reason why people love London or UK property is that there is no resale restriction. You can sell to anyone. Unlike in some countries, there are restrictions on who you can sell to. Like in Australia, you can only sell to the locals. Whereas in UK, anyone can buy your property. So there's no resale restriction.
Right.
The rules are as simple. The rules are as simple as like in Singapore, we all speak English, so common language, common legal system. That's an additional advantage for that.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, back to you, John.
And another quick point before I forget is that you can see that the UK is very pro foreign investors. From the incentive that he introduced, which is the stamp duty
Holiday.
holiday. Yeah. So before the COVID-19 and all that, a lot of people are worried that the government or whoever is going to introduce additional buying stamp duty for foreigners. But this is not the case at all. In fact, they are giving stamp duty holiday. So you can see that they are very pro foreign investors. So
Right.
you don't have to worry. Last time we were so worried when Brexit happened. Are they going to do something about it? Are they going to be more restriction? But etc. etc. But now we have our eyes to see. They are open. They are opening their market, and they want things to move, and they are fully welcoming foreign investors. As
Right.
you can see.
Right.
Yeah.
So the next question that I have, it just came in. Okay, the next question is, of course, we all know what's happening the first half of this year. We have the pandemic, right? The COVID-19. So with this thing that is affecting everybody globally, I don't know about you. Do you guys see any fire sale in the London or the UK property market over the last few months?
Well, to be honest, sad to say, I don't know whether it's sad to say or good to say, because there's no, we haven't really seen any fire sale yet from the developers. The developers are still holding on to the prices fairly tightly. Of course, they will give some discount.
Which is probably a good time. Which is why now is a good time for people to
which is
start
why-
looking, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So, yeah.
But maybe Marcus, Victor, do you, because of what's going on, because you guys have been doing this for so many years, do you individually have your own clients coming to you saying that, Victor, Marcus, Wenxiong, I'm so worried right now. I just want to dump my UK property altogether. Do you see that in the last?
No. Sorry.
Okay. Surprisingly, no, not at all. As a matter of fact, I get more inquiries about UK property, as in wanted to buy UK property rather than buyers wanted to sell their London property.
I think a lot of UK buyers are shifting from US to UK,
Right.
and the Chinese too. Chinese used to buy a lot of US properties,
Yes.
but because of our big friend in America, and of course our big friend in China as well. Yeah, I think the Chinese have refocused their investment into the UK. The UK it includes London, Manchester, Birmingham, and a few other cities.
Marcus, you see?
The interesting thing, I agree with
With me, right? Yeah, right. Yeah.
there were a lot of inquiry coming in because I think especially those seasoned investors.
Inquiry to buy or inquiry to sell? To buy, okay.
Because I think a lot of the seasoned investors, they find this as an opportunity for them to pick up something. I think the feedback I'm getting is that they feel that the economy will start growing again and the pound will start strengthening moving forward, at least in the medium term. They are quite positive about the ability of the government to handle Brexit as well as COVID-19. I know there are some numbers showing the numbers are going up, but they believe they can weather that through. And the product will start to climb again in terms of pricing. So there were a lot of inquiry on my side asking, are the developer willing to negotiate, for example, while there are no fire sales, I have brought a few offers to the developer in the last couple of months. It's true, the developer are actually more willing to talk about increasing their discount a bit more during this period.
Yep.
Yeah, and it is quite an opportune time for you to now put an offer in and let's see how far we can stretch the developer.
Totally agree. Because in a good time, if you are a developer and you see everybody trying to buy a unit from you, you wouldn't be so motivated to do a discount, isn't it? Yeah. So I guess the next question that we have is that so we think what do you all think about right now? Do you think right now it's a good time to look at? I think the question that a lot of our audience have is that do you think that right now is a good time to look at buying a property, or should we not look at it at all, or should we just not look at UK for the next 6 months, for the next 1 year, or right now is a good time?
Obviously, it's not good to put all your money in the bank, right? You're earning almost zero interest today. Yeah. So we might as well put in something that you can hedge against inflation. Of course, inflation is very low now, but it's still good to get something to hedge against that, right? And why we suggest UK or London? That's because London has all the top universities in London city itself. Of course, we don't have to talk about Oxford or
Cambridge.
Just outside London, an hour and a half. Yeah, but within London itself, there are like so many top universities that Singaporeans or whoever, or Chinese or Malaysians or Indians or Russian, want to go there. Especially with all the funny thing that's happening in America, London is getting more inquiries in this aspect. So when they go to London, they either rent an apartment or they buy. If they're rich enough, they'll buy it. So demand is always there for London. Yeah.
Interesting that you should ask that question, because at the current market now, if your funds, right, do you park them instruments like stocks and shares, or the other alternative would be an asset like these class of assets. Of course, we all know, and globally, the valuations of stock and shares that effectively outruns the real economic conditions that are going to hit the market. If you want some kind of safe investment in terms of in the medium term especially, then property may be a good thing to consider. Then among the different markets that you have globally, as what Victor has said just now, this is a blue chip property market segment. If you park your money there and buy something in London at this point in time, pick up something cheap at this point in time, it is a relatively safe investment, and will be able to write up the growth of this global city in the next 5 years or so, and make a relatively good return. So that's how I view it.
Yeah, maybe I'll just add. It's just something just came across my mind on this topic because it draws parallel to the situation in 2008, the global financial crisis. When the crisis hit, everything just got smacked. And over the couple of years since the incident happened, you can see a lot of funds going into real estate. And London being one of the major capital city that attracts all these funds going in. So, I mean, I'm not saying this will be like that. I just can't help to draw the parallel between that event and this current event. Meaning that people will pick up property, they try to look for property that they want in London. So maybe this might be something that you can think of, like using this opportunity to look at London as another of your investment.
Yeah, right.
A good London property, will give you good capital growth, good passive income.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my take. So, of course, we don't talk about other strange third world countries that carry more risk. So we rather talk about something that is more risk free, and like Victor said, a blue chip investment, and like what Martha said, a legacy for your kids, your next generation.
I guess there's always a saying, right? London will always be London. So I think to sum it up, I think UK and London has been a very attractive property destination globally for investors. In the past, it will continue to be, and it will be even more so going forward. I think to sum it up, I guess UK, why London? I think the question I think today all of us here is why London. I think London, like we mentioned, is a blue chip, it's a diverse. Right now it's a good time because of the interest rate is low, FX rate is low, rental yield continue to be strong because like I mentioned, for the last 10 years in London, there's a huge undersupply of housing and there's an increasing demand. And when that happens, that sort of set a base for the rental market as well as for the resale price. As an investor, like we say, why is there no fire sale or seen in the UK market at the moment? Because why? If I'm a landlord today, just imagine, there's a huge demand for rental. Every month I continue to collect rental. I'm not worried. Why should I sell? Because property is always what? Property is always a cycle. In a down cycle, what keeps an investor to hold on to their property is the rental. Because as long as you continue to receive rental month on month, you just wait for the bad time to go away. And when the cycle comes up and you reach the desired price that you want to exit, you can then sell away that property. So rental yield is always very important, which is what London and UK property is able to achieve and deliver to investors.
And one point I want to add is that Singapore will have en bloc and all that. In London there's no en bloc law. There's no way you can en bloc. Yeah, if a development is owned by various parties, different individual owners, there's no way you can en bloc. So London may be big, but a lot of the developments or a lot of the properties, they are all conservation. They are all listed. So it's very hard for even developers to get land in London.
Okay.
Yeah, London is so big. Yeah, but no en bloc law. It's really very, very hard. And the land will just get more and more expensive for the developer. And obviously that will translate into increased prices and all that. Yeah.
Okay. So the next question is, we understand why should we looking into buying a London property. We understand that now is probably a good time to have a discussion to look into a UK property. So the next question is how. So the question is, okay, Adrian, Victor, Marcus, I understand the why UK, why London. Now is a good time, but how? How should I go take the next step? How should I take the next step?
Come and talk to us. We will hold your hand, we'll guide you right from the start. And we don't have to do it in groups. If you want a personal service, we provide bespoke one-on-one consultation. Yeah, so you can call us anytime. We're 24 hours there, especially during this period.
Adrian usually work very hard, so it's 24 hours. Not 24 hours, just 12 hours there for you guys.
Yeah, we can meet on weekdays after your work, or we meet on weekends. Our office is really conducive. You must come and see someday. Yeah, and meet us. Yeah.
I think for me in particular, I think you need to have a conversation with us, the agent, because while there are many products out there, some you as a buyer have your own considerations that are pretty unique to yourself.
Right.
And you need to have a conversation with me or not with us, so that we understand your requirements specifically to allow us to better match our product that will suit you, that you can invest in later. So that conversation is important. Take that step, initiate that call, so that we can sit down to you and do a very more detailed understanding of your needs.
Okay.
And in terms of the process, you can buy, rent, and sell your property without having to go to London at all. Everything can be done in Singapore. Right from the moment we show you the product all the way to your lawyer, to getting the letting agent, and so on and so forth, all can be done without having to go to London.
So having a good agent right from the beginning is very important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and a good agent must have good network as well.
yeah. So guys, I think the gist of it is to get in touch with us, whether is it through email, through our company. We will show you our contact details at the end of the slide so they can get in touch with us. The key point is to have a conversation. Whether does it lead to the next step, whether do you end up buying something, whether you end up not buying UK at all, it's all right. Let's have a conversation. This is what we want. Of course, the last questions I'm going to have, especially in uncertain times and of course this Black Swan event, unprecedented time, do you all think that buying a product by a good renowned developer is important? Especially when you're buying into overseas property.
Yes, of course. This is my number one criteria for buying an overseas property. Always number one criteria, be it London or any other city, look at the developer. Developer is very important. And because you park your money with them, and then you want to make sure that your money is safe with them. Yeah.
Right. So with that, of course, we all know that today, of course, with this question and answer, we will continue to do the question and answer at the later part as well. But with that, we will move on to the next part. Is okay, guys, thank you for sharing the why UK, how to buy UK, and now is probably a good time for me to look at UK. The next question, of course, is what should I look at right now? So with that, of course, today, we're going to take the opportunity to share with you one very exciting project, which we will be actually marketing next week. So with that, we will jump straight onto this department. As you can see on your screen right now, this project is called the White City Living. This is at my Barclay Group. For those who probably who doesn't know who is Barclay Group, Barclay Group is a listed UK developer. They are on FTSE 100. What is FTSE 100? FTSE 100 means that they are the top 100 largest company listed in UK. And they built more than 70 projects across UK. Just in London alone, they have about 50 projects development altogether. So they have very, very strong track record. One of the largest developer in central London. So this project, we are actually marketing next weekend on the 23rd to the 26th of July, 11 to 7 p.m. at the developer office, which is at MBFC. So today we're going to share with you about this project. But more importantly, what we want is for you to understand, have an idea, but get in touch with the brokers, get in touch with us to ask for the price list, the fact sheet, the brochure, and to understand this project further. Because for the next 15 minutes, I'm just going to go through the key point of why this project. All right. So we are launching this White City Living. It's a 5 phases development altogether. Right now, we are launching the phase 3. To set into perspective, this is the location map. If you can look at the map right now, the shaded part where you have White City Living, that is the location. Just so you know, in central London, you have the different zone. You have zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, and zone 5. White City Living sits in zone 2 of central London. This is a very prime location. White City Living, you are sharing the neighborhood with Shepherd's Bush, Holland Park, North Kensington, Notting Hills. You can see that you are very near to Hyde Park itself. In the development, you can see there's 2 stations that is very near to you, the Wood Lane Station and the the Wood Lane Station and what is that? The White City Station. So these 2 stations are actually the 2 main lines that bring you to the rest of London easily. Last year I was at this site. So I always like to tell my client, today, if you take a flight down, of course you can't take a flight now, but if you're going to take a flight down to UK, go to the development site today, you walk out of the station, straight away you see with clarity that White City, it's a very, very nice area as of today. Because why? You can see that over 490 sales has been done for this project. 70 apartments has been completed. Phase 1 of this project has been completely sold out, guys. Phase 1 completely sold out. Right now we are doing phase 3. And today, if you walk to the development right now, you can see with a lot of clarity, the parks are nice, the landscape is nice. Westview Shopping Centre, which I'll share with you more later, it's already there. This is a phase 1. This is how it's looking like. It's halfway through the completion. It's probably coming to completion very, very soon already. And this is some of the pictures of the surrounding area. If you are there, you'll see the water fountain. The show gallery is there. If you yourself or any of your friends decided to do a site visit to the development, let us know. We can arrange a site visit for you as well. Just an overview. Altogether, White City Living, which is the project itself, will give you 2,372 apartments, a mix of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom. Altogether, there's 5 phases. This whole regeneration will be over the next 10 years. It has excellent transport link. I'm going to share with you more later as well. It has a world-class resident facilities and it has 8 acres of parks and gardens. So I think this is the project. This is the picture that will say it all. Right in the center of the photo, you can see White City Living development itself, 2,372 units in White City Living. But what do you see around it? On your left, you see that you have what? You have Imperial College campus, which is their second campus coming into White City. So Imperial College, one of the world-renowned university, are having their second campus in White City alone. There. What do you have on the right-hand side of White City? You see that, if you can see on the picture, you see the Westview Shopping Centre. Bearing in mind, guys, this Westview Shopping Centre is not your typical shopping centre. It's the largest shopping centre, not in the whole of UK, but in the whole of Europe. I repeat, the largest shopping centre, not in the whole of UK, but the whole of Europe. Can you imagine you living in the development, and when you walk out of the development, you have the largest shopping centre just in front of your doorstep. Whether you need you want to do a pharmaceutical, you need to go to pharmacy, pedicure, go to a clinic, go to a supermarket, everything, whatever you need is in the Westview Shopping Centre itself. And of course, you have the world-renowned BBC Television Centre there as well. And then you have a lot of things. Like I always tell my investors, if you don't know where to invest about UK, but you're interested to invest, take a cue. Go to where the regeneration places are. Because what is happening here, you see there's £8 billion of regeneration money going to this area. You can't be very wrong, right? There must be a lot of feasibility study being done before the council developers are putting such a huge amount of money into this area. So just invest along with the trend, and you should see potential capital growth and rental yield in your investment. Guys, I understand Victor, right? Victor, you sold a few units to your clients.
Yes, yeah, right. When the White City the whole plan just came out, that was
phase
like
1,
about
right?
3 years ago. Yeah, about 3. Yeah, so they came up with this idea, and then they incorporate where they bring in funds and investors, and they came out to Asia. I mean, basically the whole world, telling this ideal place in West London. It's just like a remake of King's Cross in London, that kind of concept. And then they wanted to make this the most sort of sought after area in West London. Of course, needless to say, not Notting Hill, out of Notting Hill and Holland Park. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, if anybody asks me, John, what is your favorite project? I have to admit that White City is probably one of my top 3 favorite projects in London. Because why? To buy, I always tell my client, how many development you can find that you have the largest shopping center beside at your doorstep. You have a world-class university at your doorstep. You have a £8 billion regeneration money going into the development at your doorstep. This development, White City Living, basically tick on all the boxes. Top school, top shopping centers, top regeneration money. And on top of that, you have the train station, the underground station that cuts through central London. It's so convenient. And I think Adrian has just pointed out, do you know something as well? Do you know Harrods? For those, you all probably know Harrods who've been to London. Harrods has traditionally been in Knightsbridge for, I think, about 120 years, and they have never moved. Would you be happy to know that Harrods have decided to actually have their second outlet, and they have chosen, after 120 years, guys, after 120 years, they decided to have their second outlet nowhere else in London, but in White City alone. I guess that says a lot about White City as a regeneration area and the potential, because as an investor, you want to go into the area where it's exciting and you see the potential of the future. All right. So this is a quick overview of White City Living and the surrounding. You see Television Centre, you see White City Place, Imperial College coming in, the iconic BBC Television Centre, and of course the Westfield Shopping Centre. Okay, we have all this information. All you have to do is to just reach out to any of our brokers, any of us. We are happy to share this with you as well. Okay, and what's going on in White City? What's the recent news? I think on top of Harrods that is coming in, I think early July this year, Harrods is opening their second outlet. You have John Lewis as well. John Lewis is now open in White City. You'll be happy to know that they have one of their largest store in White City. You have the Tech Park, Neck-a-Porter, Royal College, Art Plus dining venue, even the BBC Television Centre. You have very good brands going there as well. You have the hotels. This is an area where a lot of things are happening. And of course, you have Skillspace. Skillspace is in the White City regeneration area. Skillspace basically is a joint initiative between Imperial College and ThinkSpace to come out as an initiative to help aspiring entrepreneurs to come up with business idea. And altogether, there's 53 million investment into White City for this Skillspace initiative. And just last year, just this year, I sold a couple of White City units to my clients in China, in Singapore. And I think this is one of the main reasons why they chose White City as one of their development to buy, because of Imperial College. Because we know Imperial College is still the top 5 university in the whole of UK. And whether is it leaving a legacy, whether is it to just buy as a rental to a student from a good family, White City will stand out as to benefit from the Imperial College second campus.
And Imperial College has a very strong exchange program with top university in China, Zhejiang University.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of Chinese who knows about Imperial College.
Yeah, exactly. I'm quite sure many of you probably graduate from Imperial College as well, or probably have plans to send your kids there. So this will be a good development to look at. And I think not just in UK, not just in Singapore, Malaysia, or Hong Kong. I think location connectivity is so important, which is why White City stands out. Why? Because you don't want to be walking half an hour before you reach a train station, right? Because White City, as long as you walk out of your development, you have a train station, underground station just right at your doorstep. White City, if you're going to look at the map, you have the White City and the Wood Lane station. This has 3 lines cutting through the station itself. You have the city line, you have the Hammersmith line, and you have the Central line. Once you get to White City Station, you are just 7 minutes to Paddington Station. And Paddington Station is a very important station because you have the Crossrail there as well. And Crossrail basically brings you from east to west. All your traveling time become almost halved. And you are just, for ladies who love shopping, Bond Street, which is in Singapore, Orchard Road, Bond Street is just 12 minutes away. So you'll be happy to know that, you are just 10 minutes to the shopping district, do your shopping and come back before your husband even come home. So
there'll be Westfield.
Yeah, London. Exactly. And of course, you have King's Cross Station. King's Cross Station is a very important station for people who are whether going to the rest of Europe, because you have your St. Pancras, you have your Eurostar. there as well. So King's Cross is just 21 minutes from White City. Okay, this is what I touched on. You have 2 underground stations and 3 tube lines just at White City development. And just to give you an overview of this project, altogether, as I mentioned, 2,372 apartments will be delivered over the next 10 years. The overall site areas is 11,088 acres. 8 acres of land will be for landscaping and 5 acres for public open space. Altogether, in terms of commercial space in the development, there will be 61,000. Right now, we are in phase 3, and phase 3, we are launching 526 apartments altogether. Just to show, because remember I mentioned there's 5 phases altogether. The one that is circled in box is actually what we are launching next weekend, phase 3. It's a very nice phase because why? If you look at the picture itself, we have the development actually benefit from the water gardens, which will have a view towards the waterside park as well. And this is a very interesting phase because you have the Cassini Tower, which is the rounded on the south side of the development. On Cassini Tower, basically you have a very interesting view as well. So get in touch with any of us. We will share with you the views and what is the ideal unit for you to look at. Of course, this is the waterside garden. I mentioned the waterside garden phase, you basically benefit from a water view. You have 3 different buildings, which we are launching right now. So get in touch with us. We will show you the views. Just imagine this is the kind of, when it's completed in 2023, 2024, this is how it will look like for the Cassini and phase 3 development. Just imagine yourself sitting by the lawn, enjoying the summertime. This is the kind of view and the kind of layout and landscape that you enjoy as a resident. All right? So I always like to ask, just imagine, Adrian, can you imagine yourself lounging here, having a glass of red wine? When it's completed. So we will choose a 1 bed for you, or 1 or 2 beds for you, right? So when it's completed, you can invite us there. So yeah, I think this is one of the water garden lounge that the residents will be able to enjoy when it's completed. And this is all only accessible by the residents of White City Living. This is just more visual on how it looks like. So the Cassini Tower is the tall tower that you see over here, and the waterside apartments will be behind Cassini Tower, which is just as nice as well. Okay, this is something interesting. I always like to tell my clients, do you know White City Living? Altogether, there will be 6,500 trees and plants. And all these trees and plants come from 50 different species. And just on trees alone, there's 430 trees that come from 30 different species over 4 continents. And bear in mind, when Barclay St. James say that they will deliver this kind of quality and trees, they will deliver this kind of landscape. And this is the strength and the promise of Barclay branding. And this is how the completed apartment will look like when you collect your keys. You can see all are really top specs. I think St. James, Barclay are always well known to investors globally as delivering top product because they are one of the top developers. Underfloor heating, floor to ceiling height is very decent, very comfortable. Everything is almost provided for. Washer, dryer, cooking hobs, fridge, all these will be provided for as well. And this is one of the master bedroom in one of the new show flat apartment. And this is how the ensuite will look like. Much better than where I have in Singapore. And of course, this is the last slide. I think for those who are wondering, John, how long is this? Because in Singapore, we have 99 years or 999 years. This is a 999 years development for White City Living. And when is the completion date? The completion will be in Q2 2023 all the way to Q1 2024. So this will be the completion date as well. And the next question is, John, how do I pay? What is the payment term? Remember when our team was sharing that buying London property, the beautiful thing about it is all deferred staggered payment, meaning that you don't pay everything in one shot. Everything is paid in stages. So to reserve a unit today, basically you just put a £5,000 through your credit card to reserve a unit. You pay your first 10% of the purchase price 3 weeks from now. 3 weeks from the date you put the reservation fee. You pay your next 10% of the purchase price 1 year later. And then the remaining 80% upon completion. So when is the completion? The completion is in Q2 2023. That's 3 years from now, along with your stamp duty. But bearing in mind, from now to 2023, how long do we have? We have about 3 years, right? So remember what Adrian mentioned about just now. For the first year, basically you only put in 20%. What about my stamp duty? You don't pay your stamp duty today. You don't pay your stamp duty at all because your stamp duty for UK only payable upon completion 3 years from now. So what you need to set aside is 20%. But from now to 3 years later, the question is, John, if I want to sell my property, can I do that? Can I do that, guys? You can, right? So you can. So from now, putting a 20% along the next 3 years, you are free to sell that property for a profit if you decide to make a profit. And if you sell your property before completion, you don't have to pay your stamp duty. I guess that is the beauty about investing into UK property for many investors. So with that, I think we have come to the end of the sharing for White City Living. To sum it up, this is a fantastic project. Why is that so? This is one of the projects by a top reputable developer in a top location, Central London, Zone 2. You have Great Tube Underground Station. You have top college. You have the largest shopping center in the whole of Europe. Basically, it ticks all the check boxes as an investors. The next question, I think people is going to ask, John, what is the prices? Just to let you see on the screen over here, the prices in the 3 different towers, starting from 808,000 for 1 bed, all the way to 1.87 million for 2 bed, 2 bath. But of course, this is a short session. Please come to us, ask us for the price list, ask us for the fact sheet, the brochure, and the floor plan, so that we can go through and identify the best unit for you as well. So with that, as promised, this is our contact details. I'm going to leave this on because I think we have just a few more questions that come in from our audience over here that I'm going to put it across to the team. Please, like what Marcus will always say, take down our details, get in touch with any of us if you have any question at all. Okay, so this time around, there's no prize for all these questions because I know I give out prizes for the previous round. So, okay, first questions, depending who wants to take the question. What makes White City so attractive compared to other properties? I think this is probably what we touch on.
Right.
I thought that has been said many times. The main reason is, of course, Imperial College is right next door.
Right.
Still is right next door. John Lewis is right next door.
Harris is coming in.
Harris is coming in. What else? And accessibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To the tube. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're right next to Notting Hill and Holland Park. These are very, very good.
Yeah, and if you look at the prices in Notting Hill and Holland Park, what's the PSF in those area, and we're just 1 street away from Notting Hill and Holland Park.
Yeah.
And just 1 street away, the difference between the price and White City, we can discuss and we can share with you the difference between the price in White City and the price just 1 street across in Holland Park.
Yeah.
We can share with you the biggest difference is the price in the area.
I always like to tell people, for us as an investor, we buy what? We buy a 1 bed or 2 bed, right? We are worried. But just imagine, remember, there's £8 billion that's going to put in. For those people that's going to put in £8 billion, do you think they would not have done all the feasibility study before they decide to put in £8 billion? They'll be more worried than you. So they probably have done the research. So just invest along with where the big money are going. I think we should all do fine. Next question. What options are currently available at White City Living? What option? I guess the option, I think the audience is asking, I guess you have an option of a 1 bedder, 2 bedders, and 3 bedders. Come to us. We are more than happy to share with you the price list so that you have a rough idea. And rest assured that we will try to achieve the best price that we can get for you as well. The next question, any top tips for investor looking to invest into the UK property market? Any top tip? What is important? I think the question is, what should I look at? What is important? Maybe the 3 main points.
Number 1 is the developer I mentioned earlier. A good developer is very important. Second is the proximity to the train station or the crossrail station or the MRT or the tube station.
Okay.
Yeah. So the third one, what would you say? Maybe the amenities. What's
the surrounding area? Yeah, you're right. Exactly.
Are we in a good area? Are there many amenities?
So yeah, so basically, yeah, basically in every whatever budget you have, there will always be property that will fit into your budget.
Right. Right. Okay. The next one. I think this is a very sensitive question. So whoever that is asking us this question, I guess you put us in a spot, but we're going to ask it anyway. So what is the discount level for White City Living? This is $1 million question. But that's a good question. I guess this is something that I will ask myself if I'm looking at a project. I would say for one bedder, we should be looking about 3 to 5%, and for two bedder between 5 to 7, 8%. Of course, these are subjective and indicative. We will try our best to put up the offers subjected to developers' acceptance. But of course, like what Marcus have mentioned earlier, right now, of course, as a developer, they probably will be more motivated to look at giving a little bit more discount because of what's going on. So for those who, for those who have been looking for the last 1 year, 2 years, isn't it now a good time for you to start looking at UK property? Because why? Would you want to start looking into a UK property when everybody thinks it's a good time to buy? Because when you think it's a good time to buy, developer also know it's a good time to sell. So they wouldn't be so motivated to give you that kind of discount that you wanted, isn't it? So which is always why if we always remember and think back, for those of us who missed the Lehman crisis, we look back and we say, I missed that crisis. I wish I had put in the money when the market was so bad. And the next crisis I'll put in. Now it's sort of that timing that shouldn't we be looking at, is there any opportunity in the market?
So for the buyer who have asked us about the discount, maybe give us your offer, then we really see what's the real discount that we can get.
Yeah. Yeah. I think maybe just before we end, okay, we have another discount. Thank you, Pei. Sorry guys, I think time is running out. We are running short. Of course, we still have so much question coming in. These are live questions that's coming in, but we will make a point to answer you. If we can't, please send us an email. We'll answer your questions. The point is, I think more importantly, next weekend, we are doing an exhibition for White City Living. Please get in touch with us so that you can reserve a slot because it's a one-to-one consultation because we have this what we call social distancing in place. Reserve a slot with us so that we can show you the developments. RSVP with us, get in touch with us so that we can send you the information because from now till next weekend, we are very sure some units or the better units will be reserved. So you want to make sure you have the best selection of unit right now before the exhibition. Whether do you eventually buy or do you not buy, it doesn't matter. What we want to do is to share the opportunity with you. At the end of the day, the final decisions lies with you. With that, thank you very much, and thank you to the team for spending the time with us. Thank you, Wen Xiong. We will look forward to seeing you again because we have in line a few more phases of webinars that will be going. With that, thank you very much and stay safe, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.